Hi, welcome back to the Winning Edge Talks podcast. This is your host Vishwanath. I'm a sports mental conditioning coach, counselor, author, blogger, and podcaster. This is the episode number 132. Everyday mental toughness is the topic of this episode. When you look into the lives of highly successful people, you'll find that their journey to the top was not an easy one. They had to face several hurdles, setbacks, challenges, and adversities along the way. They were neither born with the silver spoon in the mouth, nor were they dynasties in a family of business tycoons or celebrities. They didn't have any legends in the family to pass on the tricks of the trade, nor the skills of the business. They had to build it from the scratch and create a niche for themselves. Life is sometimes unjust and cruel. While many who were born from impoverished and underprivileged backgrounds fell by the wayside and settled for mediocrity, others, through their sheer hard work and determination, toughened it out to make it big. They didn't fall back on the self-help books on mental toughness, nor did they enroll for courses. The vagaries of life was their greatest teacher. The quote, "Tough times don't last, tough people do," holds good with these people. This episode, Everyday Mental Toughness, is about helping athletes develop mental toughness by implementing simple and practical ideas in everyday life. Mental toughness is one of the requirements in becoming an elite athlete. For an athlete to succeed at the highest level, he or she needs to work hard at the skills, train their body, work on his or her stamina and endurance, and finally execute their skills and showcase their ability in competition. It is of no value if you are an athlete who is tall, well-built, and strong, possessing good stamina and endurance, but you give up mentally when the chips are down. How strong you are mentally comes from your ability to handle your thoughts, the mindset, your emotions, and the competition pressure. I quote Novak Djokovic, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, as saying, "Physically, there is not much difference between world number 78 and number 1, 2, or 5. Everybody works hours and hours on the court. It's mental ability to handle pressure, to play well at the right moments. That's the difference with the top 10 players." Unquote. Sports are very commercial these days. There is so much at stake. The demands on the athlete are huge, and unless they are tough mentally, they may not be able to achieve or last long. Mental toughness, in simple terms, is not giving up too easily. It can also be described as the ability to perform at the upper range of your talent and skill under trying circumstances. We have noticed in our lives, as we grow up, some of the people around us were tough mentally and didn't give up easily. Even today, you can find many in your life, if you care to notice, who are tough mentally. This brings us to the question, are the mentally tough born or made? The tough ones by trait are born tough, and some are lucky to be supported by the conducive environment and their upbringing. This does not mean that if you are mentally fragile, by nature your fate is sealed and you can't get tough mentally. Behavioral scientists and psychologists have done enough research on how one can get mentally tough. Many self-help books and courses are available to assist you to get tough mentally. I myself, in my book, Success Mantra in Sports, in the chapter on mental toughness, have described in scientific terms on what mental toughness is and what it takes to get tough mentally. I've also made an episode on mental toughness for sports in the podcast series Winning Edge Talks, published in the Hubhopper Studio podcast platform. This episode is available for you to listen. I wish to reiterate that this episode, Everyday Mental Toughness, is about exploring how one can get mentally tough, whether you are the athlete or not, by applying simple techniques in everyday life. Our life is our best teacher. Our life reveals a lot about us and gives us an opportunity to improve. If we care to work on them, we will be better people. In competitive sports, in order to get mentally tougher, you have to do the things that are extremely challenging, uncomfortable, and even dangerous. For example, adventure sports and motorsports are dangerous in nature. At some time, you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to come out of the comfort zone and be the fish out of water, at least temporarily, to reach your goals. I bring to you two examples of how the elite athletes put in the extraordinary efforts to get better in what they do. The name Abhinav Bindra needs no introduction to you all. Abhinav was expected to win the gold medal in the 2004 Athens Olympics, but he returned home empty-handed. During the shooting rounds at Athens, he faced some unexpected situations that in the ultimate analysis could have rattled him a bit. Abhinav, a tough and a determined competitor that he is, decided to prepare his mind to face the unexpected. He did something that would make any ordinary athlete uncomfortable, like climbing tall mountains in the icy, freezing temperatures, climbing a tall, narrow pole without support, immersing in freezing cold water, and many other things. Abhinav Bindra won the gold medal at the Beijing Olympics in 2008. Abhishek Nair is a cricket all-rounder from Mumbai. Coaches say he was not the most gifted of cricketers, but he was mentally tough. He bailed out Mumbai on a number of occasions in the Ranji Trophy and other tournaments. His records prove that he was one of the successful cricketers who missed playing for the country. Abhishek Nair has set up his cricket academy post-retirement and has helped many cricketers, including the likes of Rohit Sharma and Dinesh Karthik, to succeed. Cricketers seek his help in becoming better players, especially in the area of mental conditioning. He is known for his weird ways of training cricketers in making them mentally tough. He exposes the cricketers to situations that puts a lot of discomfort in them, mentally and physically. Dinesh Karthik, the India cricketer, narrates his experience with Abhishek Nair. Dinesh used to travel to Mumbai often to have sessions with Abhishek, and he stayed with Abhishek in his one-room flat. During one such visit, Nair woke up Dinesh at 2 a.m. in the morning and made him to run over the hills for 45 minutes non-stop. He made Dinesh sleep on a bed and on the floor. He had to sweep the floor and tidy the room. Dinesh knew how to swim and he was used to swimming 2-3 laps at a time. But Abhishek made him to swim 40 laps in one go. He was firm on Dinesh completing the 40 laps. After initial doubts and hesitancy, Dinesh ultimately could swim the 40 laps. Abhishek Nair's philosophy was simple: to push his trainees out of the comfort zone and make them comfortable with the uncomfortable. When you get used to extremely tough conditions of the field, then it becomes easy for the mind and body to adapt to tough match situations on the field, was his theory. I reiterate again that mental toughness in lay terms means giving up too easily without extending a fight. This usually happens when an athlete who is mentally fragile in certain match situations and when he or she is pushed to the wall, may lose hope, imagines defeat and throws in the towel. Everyday mental toughness is about what routines athletes should practice on a daily basis, perform the acts that otherwise would put them off, and they avoid doing them. I will tell you later on what are those routines and rituals that you can practice on a daily basis that will prepare you to face the troubles, difficulties and challenges that you encounter on the sporting arena. Life has changed these days, and with the average earnings per family going up, everything is mechanized and automated, and the machines are carrying out the tasks that we once did physically ourselves. We may remote control everything sitting in our seats. Lifestyles are changing and mankind is getting prone to the lifestyle illnesses. People are in the comfort zone more than ever before. Children are the worst affected as they are given everything on a platter before they ask. They do not know what it is to be a fish out of water. Children these days don't get groomed to take responsibilities, experience discomfort, pain and suffering. Unless of course they come from underprivileged backgrounds. The children, those dwelling in urban areas, don't even have playgrounds and open spaces to run around, play games and have fun. They become couch babies, get hooked to the cell phones and eat junk food. Worried parents put them into sports for them to experience the physiological and psychological benefits of playing sports. During competition, children are challenged physically, emotionally, and competitively, and they are expected to excel. They have had it too easy in life so far. When such kids take to sports and some of them enter the competition, they find the going tough. A majority of them drop out, unable to bear the stress, discomfort, setbacks and disappointment competition throws up at them. To the small percentage of kids who stay put and progress, further mental toughness training is a necessity. The best teacher is their sweet home and their own life. We say charity begins at home. Likewise, mental toughness training should also begin from home. Children copy their parents, and it is the parents' initiative to act as role models. Parents should give up their sedentary lifestyle, take part in physical activities, and they should also encourage their kids to do so. They should walk to the nearby places to shop and complete errands and not use their vehicles. Kids from a very early age should be given small errands and responsibilities. They should raise kids to be independent. This helps them in their life whether they take to competitive sports or not. Sensitive people are usually mentally fragile. Why they are sensitive depends on a lot of factors, like their born trait, whether they have faced too many adversities in life and lack the self-esteem and belief to stand up for themselves. It could be anything. They usually avoid situations that bring them out of the comfort zone. Sensitive people can be emotionally vulnerable and they can be hurt easily. Such people shirk from situations, challenges, and demanding people. These are factors that can trigger their discomfort, stressful reactions, and the tendency of avoidance. High sensitivity can come from being too self-centered, self-conscious, and egoistic also. Such people would want everything happening their way, and if it doesn't, they just don't care. They just give up and walk away. Athletes who are sensitive by nature should put in the efforts to desensitize themselves of their sensitivity. The everyday practices suggested in this episode can bring them out of their frailties. They may not be able to change overnight, as their reactions and repetitive behaviors are habitual in nature, fueled by a strong desire to change, backed by commitment. They can grow more tougher. Athletes, including the sensitive ones, who are vulnerable to their frailties mentally, must make a list of the factors that make them vulnerable. To name a few, it can be situations, conditions, environment, and people. They can seek professional help from counselors, sports psychologists, and therapists. Coaches can simulate conditions and situations that trigger the need in the athlete to give up. Athletes can approach therapists who are adept in systematic desensitization. Sports psychologists can teach emotional regulation and help them deal with their negative emotions like anger and fear. The symptoms of fear can be worry, nervousness, and anxiety. The effect of self-confidence and fear on each other is inversely proportional. That is, when confidence is high, fear is down. And when fear is high, confidence is low. Practicing emotional regulation techniques will keep their confidence afloat and the tendency to give up is minimal. Like I said earlier, you can't be afraid and relaxed at the same time. Relaxed mind reduces fear and makes you confident. Sports psychologists can train athletes the relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, pranayama, mindfulness, and many other exercises. Sports psychologists can train athletes on the art of visualization and imagery. Athletes can imagine seeing themselves performing confidently, being relaxed on the field, executing well, winning points, sets, and matches. This regular practice gives them hope and the self-belief to get back into the match from hopeless situations. I will wrap up with these everyday tips for mental toughness. If you are an athlete and hate getting up early, then you must make it a point to get up early. If there is a tendency for you to use an automobile to travel to short distances, then you need to walk to those places. To walk to the nearest shop for your daily needs should be the motto each and every time. If you're addicted to cell phone and other gadgets and it is distracting you from your top priorities, then you have to do something about it. If you're addicted to any other habit that can come in the way of your success, then you must come out of it willfully. Being an athlete, you have to eat the healthy diet recommended by your nutritionist. You have to consume what is suggested, however distasteful it is. If you think you are lazy, you have to make it a resolution to overcome laziness. If you are sensitive to doing things that you hate doing, you must push yourself to do gradually the things until it becomes a practice. Practice taking criticisms and negative feedback positively, if there is truth in them. Practice forgiveness and gratefulness every day. If you feel practicing performance improvement mental exercises and relaxation techniques is boring, you have to willfully practice them to achieve your goals. Like I suggested earlier, practice visualization every day. Lack of mental toughness comes out of fear. What are you afraid of? Fear of losing, obviously. Relaxation is the antidote for fear. Practice relaxation techniques. Focus on the effort in everything you do on a daily basis and accept the results that you get. When you are desperate for your desires, wants and needs to manifest, then you get frustrated if you don't get them. Accept what comes and be happy with what you have. Insulate yourself from minor irritants every day. Mentally fragile people get irritated quickly. Accept more, tolerate more, and expect less. Many things can irritate you, like external noises, voices, sounds, people, relationships, and other stimulants. Acceptance and tolerance are the key. Practice coping skill. If you care to notice, you can find many tough people around you. Make them your role model and get inspired by what makes them tough mentally. We may not be happy with our own mental toughness, and we may envy the people around us who are thick-skinned. The buck shouldn't stop there. Why can't we get thick-skinned ourselves? By practicing the everyday mental toughness tips, you develop the willpower needed to get tough mentally. Hey, get tough, guys. There's a lot waiting for you to happen on the other side. That's all I have for you in this episode. Don't forget to visit my website winningedgeconsulting.in winningedgeconsulting.in. Until next time, goodbye.